How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of the Morning Vibe. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. We are rolling through the week like madmen with a hurricane in the Gulf and moving through. It's been a crazy week here in Florida for sure. Luckily, it looks like all this mess is going to mess us up here in the Florida Panhandle. Let's hit you guys with intro music real quick because we got a topic we need to dive right into. And man, is this a split audience on this one. 100%, guys. Like, people are all over the place in this situation. Hope you guys enjoy the intro music there, but let's dive right into it real quick before we go any further. I'm recording this midday on Tuesday. It does look like this hurricane's going to come up and pop Florida pretty good. I don't know that it's going to be as bad as some of the media outlets are making it to be. We'll see what happens. It's going to hit kind of right there in the armpit of Florida, it looks like. So make sure you got those guys in your thoughts and prayers as we kind of move through the next couple days. It's going to be very tedious, obviously. It looks like we're going to steer clear of it over here in the Panhandle, so we're thankful for that. But we do definitely thinking about our neighbors over to the east. But all right, so we're going to dive right into this. There was a very controversial issue that popped up last week in the fishing world. There was a charter that was being ran down to the Florida Keys. I say last week. It went viral last week. I honestly don't know exactly when this happened. Things happen, you know, the way the internet works, sometimes things go viral way after something happens. So I don't know when this exactly took place. I know it kind of went viral and took off last week. So there was a charter being ran down in the Florida Keys by two conch charters. And they had an incident on one of their charters that was just... it was mind-boggling. And I'm going to play the clip for you guys here in just a couple minutes. Now, before we play this clip, everybody needs to know, I fully understand there's two sides to every story. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But I do want to go ahead and let you guys know, if you've got little ones watching, don't let them watch this because this is a very vulgar video. It's only about 10-15 seconds. And I try to keep everything super clean here on the Cameron Ron channel. But I'm going to go ahead and play this clip just so you guys can get a full effect of exactly what was going on that charter boat that day. And then we're going to kind of talk about what's come to light and my feelings, my take on it. But we're going to go ahead and roll this clip again. If you don't like the vulgar language or you got little ones watching, please, kind of pause this video and get them out of the room for a minute. They can come back and listen to my 2 cents once it's over, but I don't really, unless you're okay with them watching that, but it definitely has some vulgar language in it. I want to preface that, guys, with you guys before we play it. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to play this clip real quick and just kind of show you guys what happened.
I don't give a fuck!
Right, Julie, just go back.
I am going back!
Just leave it.
Fucking talk to me, you don't fucking listen for shit! I done told you, listen to me, and you keep telling me, listen to me, listen to me! I ain't fucking listening to you, bro!
Okay, alright.
I do this every fucking day! Every day!
Okay, yeah, you made yourself clear.
Okay, I hope I did!
Right with it.
Never have I ever had a trip like this!
Okay.
Whole fucking life of this!
And then that's basically the gist of it, guys. So a couple things. First and foremost, let's address the fact that there's obviously two children on this boat. This gentleman didn't film the whole time. He filmed a lot of the feed, but you can tell there are two young kids. It did come to light later that there were a dad and two boys on this trip. Now, let me go ahead and, because like I said, there's two sides to every story. So let me break down exactly what happened before this, because obviously that's not in the video. So, and this is, again, not my video. I left all the stuff. I screen recorded that from TikTok so you guys could see it. That I left, I don't know whose version of that was. I don't know if it was the original poster. I'm assuming it was based on the likes and that kind of stuff. So just so you guys know, not taking credit for the video, that is 100% their video. I'm just reacting to it. But first and foremost, this is what has come out that happened. And this was basically released by two conch charters. So I'm assuming this is fairly accurate of what happened. Apparently they were fishing for mahi. They had a mahi hooked up. They got it in. The captain left the helm and went back to the back of the boat to unhook the mahi. And either the dad or one of the kids either pushed the throttle up or bumped into the throttle. There's still all kinds of like theories on how that happened. Well, when it did, it if you've ever been on the boat, it takes the boat off real fast and it's very jarring, and it tossed the captain over the back of the boat, not into the water, but over the back wall and in between the engines, which is what caused him to react the way he did. Now, there's two sides split right down the middle on this. This gentleman was terminated. He was fired by two conch charters. The last I'd heard, he had not, gotten his job back or anything like that. There's a massive movement out there for people saying that this guy should get his job back. I am not one of those people. I do not think this person should ever be allowed to run a charter service ever again. And here's why. Hear me out. Why before you start jumping down in the comment section and going crazy. Now, let me start this off by saying I'm not a charter captain. I've never ran charters. I've taken a lot of people out on the boat with me. Some of them were experienced fishermen. Some of them were not. I've taken subscribers on the boat. I've taken seasoned charter captains on the boat with me. So I've had a gamut of people on my boat. Some could fish, some couldn't. And that's part of it. You kind of know if you take a buddy out on the boat with you that's never fished in saltwater before or never fished, period, kind of what you're getting into today or that day when you're on the boat. So with that being said, I can't speak for all charter captains, but I can say this. If you step foot on my boat at any given time, I am responsible for you and those people's with you's well-being, especially if there's children on the boat. Now, you're going to say, well, you don't know what happened before this. You don't know what happened before that. Maybe they weren't listening, and maybe they weren't. They may have been the worst clients in the world, but you have to understand, as a charter captain, you have every right to terminate that trip at any given time. So if you really do feel like the charter is going that terribly and they're not listening to you and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then take that boat back to dock and get them off your boat, period. There's never a time to act like that, no matter what the situation was. So yes, maybe they were terrible clients. I don't know. I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they weren't. I'm just saying, let's give the captain the benefit of the doubt and say that they were terrible clients. They hadn't been listening all day. He should have terminated the charter. If he felt himself getting to that point to where he felt he was going to react that way, you should have terminated that charter long before you let that get to that point. Because whether you're happy with your client or not, you are still responsible for their well-being when you have them on the water. Point blank. If you're the captain of that vessel, whether you're running a charter or whether you're not, I'm not a licensed captain, but when I'm out on the Mako, I am the captain of that boat. If I feel like somebody is doing something to put themselves in danger, I will stop them every time. I don't care if it's your kid, my kid, Aunt Susie's kid, or an adult. I will stop them before you have a tragic accident. That's just your responsibility as the captain of that vessel, whether you're a charter captain or not. So if things were going that badly for him all day, he should have terminated the charter before they ever got to that point. Period. So there's no excuse for him reacting the way they did. Now, that's the case of, could they have been bad clients? Yes, they could have been bad clients. I'm, again, not defending the person that shot the video or that was on the boat. They could have 100% been a terrible client all day. I have no idea. We'll never know. My point is, if you have people on a boat that do not know how to drive that boat or do not know how to operate a vessel, or there's kids on your boat, it is your responsibility for the actions of that boat at all times. Let's just say you come out. I mean, I've almost done this. Okay. When you look at my Mako, the throttle is right on the side beside the steering wheel. If a wake comes and hits you and you're not expecting it, the first thing you do is you go to grab for something to keep yourself from falling. If you grab that throttle and then it continues to push you, you can easily push that throttle into gear and take that boat off. So why did he think it was okay to step away from that helm with two small children on the boat, with it running, obviously? Because I don't think for a second they started the boat and then put it in gear. There's no chance that happened. The boat was running. If they pushed it, knocked it, I don't know. I don't know if one of the kids grabbed it and pushed it in gear. I don't know if the dad fell into it. I have no idea. That part never really came out. They just said that the throttle was engaged and it tossed the captain over the back of the boat. Again, not in the water, just a very dangerous situation for the captain. I'm not trying to make light of that. 100%, it was a dangerous situation for that captain. He could have been seriously injured. If he had actually fallen in the water, the props could have got him. He could have been killed. I mean, it 100% could have killed him, could have sent him into shock, and he could have went down right there on the spot. But with that being said, there's no reason that captain should have been on the back of that boat with that boat still running if he wasn't at the helm, especially guys with two small kids on the boat, because most of the time they just don't know. Kids, if it's bright and shiny, a kid's going to touch it. They could be the best kids in the world. It doesn't mean they're bad kids. If it's bright and shiny, they're going to touch it. My oldest son, one time we went out to St. Louis to visit a buddy. Well, he had an alarm system in his house. there was a panic button downstairs that he could hit that immediately set off his security alarm and called the cops. We had no idea it was there. We happened to get there before he did. So he gave us the code to get into the house. So I think Chase was like 3 or 4 at the time. Chase walked into the basement. First thing he did was hit the panic button. It was a bright, shiny red button on the wall. So he went up and touched it. We dealt with the cops and all that. Paul gave us a security password. We were good to go. But kids are going to touch bright, shiny objects every time. You got a dashboard full of lights. There's a throttle there. There's buttons on it. So for all I know, the kid may have literally walked up, grabbed the throttle, and pushed it. You cannot leave that boat running in that situation. If you don't have a deckhand on the board, then you can't leave that boat running. You have got to be at the helm of that boat all the time if that boat is running. That is 100% your responsibility. There's no argue. If you try to argue that, you're wrong. Now, I'm sorry, but that's just the case. That's just the way it is. If you've got kids on your boat or adults, I mean, you take, for instance, if I go out tomorrow with my dad, my mom, and Sarah, and we're out on the Mako, and I'm back on the back of the boat fishing, and I leave that boat running, and a wake hits us, and my dad's standing on the side fishing, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to try to find something to hold on to. The first thing that's probably going to stick out if he's standing over on the right-hand side of that boat is the throttle. If he hits that, I'm falling off the back. No questions asked. So what I do to remedy that, if that boat stops, I turn it off. Every single time I turn that boat off if I'm not going to be right there at the helm, because that is the safe thing to do. There's no question. Again, I'm not a charter captain, but I understand that. I understand that you cannot leave that boat running if you're not standing there with it for so many reasons, because it was a dangerous situation for him, but it was also a dangerous situation for them. What if he had fallen off the boat and gotten injured or hurt or killed, and they're out here on a boat that they don't know how to operate? There's no way they intentionally put themselves in that situation. So there was no reason for him to react like that whatsoever, especially with kids on the boat. To me, this person should never, if you cannot control your emotions more than that, you should not be allowed to operate a charter ever again. That's my 2 cents. You should not ever be allowed to operate a charter ever again, because number one, if they were terrible clients, you allowed it to get to that point to where you boiled over and you felt the need to react like that. You did that. You should have terminated that charter long before you did if it was really going that poorly, because you have that right. 100% you have that right to terminate a charter at any given time. Now, you might not get paid. I don't know. I don't know what the logistics are of that. But 100%, if you feel unsafe or if you feel they're going to be unsafe, I mean, I've heard stories about people getting way too toasted on a charter, and the charter captain's like, all right, boys, it's time to go back. It's not a safe situation for us to be in anymore. We're taking it back. And they take them back to the dock. And you know, are you going to get a tip? Probably not. You're probably not going to get a tip. You should still get paid. Not going to get a tip, but that's okay. You kept everybody safe that day. So you should not let it get to that point. It's just, you're talking about a very, very dangerous situation, amplified by the fact that someone completely lost their cool and went overboard with their emotions in a position that you just cannot do that in. You cannot let your emotions get that far out of whack. If you're out, I don't know how far they were out. I don't know where they were fishing. None of that information was released. Or if it was, I don't know it. I shouldn't say it wasn't released. I don't know about it. But this was everywhere. A lot of people out there feel like that this guy was in the right and that he should get his job back. And I mean, I just 150% disagree with that. I truly do. I feel like if you let it get to that point, that's on you. Because that's what everybody's argument is. Well, you don't know what happened before. No, I don't, but he does. So if it was that bad and got him that worked up before, he should have ended that charter long before it got to that point, because it was a safety risk for everybody involved. Y'all leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think. This is obviously a touchy subject because lots of people, I had a conversation, recently with another creator, and we were talking about charter captains, and most of the time you have to keep in mind when you're going out with a charter captain that you're going out for the experience. Now, everybody wants to catch fish, and most of the time you do, but there are situations where you're going to go out and the bite's just off that day. So you might not have, the fish that in your mind you're thinking about. You need to be a good client when you're out on these charter boats. That's part of it. You need to listen to the captain. They're paid very, very well. They're trained to do the right things and the safe things on a charter boat. That's their job. You need to be listening to them. If you don't listen to them, they have every right to terminate that trip, as they should. 100%. If you get out there, I don't care how much you paid for it, if you won't listen to the captain, if you're doing things that are unsafe or you're putting people around you in danger, 100% you deserve to have that trip ripped out from under you. No questions asked, because you have a responsibility to be a good client on a charter boat. But the charter captain also has a responsibility to be a good captain. And part of that is knowing when it's time to go back to the dock. And I think that's kind of what happened there. I've been out on a lot of charter boats with different guys, helping them promote their business. And I've watched, what they do, how they handle things. I'm a very experienced fisherman. I'm an experienced boater. So I know what to do and what not to do when I'm on a boat. There's been plenty of times, like when I go out with Ryan Reed, if he's up there doing something and he needs me to take over the helm for a minute, I'm very, very comfortable doing that. But he's not going to walk away from the helm of that boat with a child on board that does not know how to operate that vessel, because he puts himself at a great risk right then, as well as his entire crew that's on there. So just my 2 cents on it. I really, really feel like this was a dangerous situation that luckily did not end as bad as it could have. So, just be mindful of that if you ever go on a charter, if you see this, and like I said, leave a comment down below. If you think I'm wrong, tell me you think I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. I'm always up for a good debate. But I truly feel like that it never should have got to that point anyways, if they were that bad of clients. So guys, that's all I got for you today. I truly hope you guys are enjoying your week. Can't wait to see you guys on the next one on Friday. As always, make sure you find a way to make somebody smile today. You never know. It just might change the world. We can't wait to see y'all on the next one. Y'all take care, and we will see you soon.